Hi, this is Tammy with Impressors Extraordinaire, and I am here today to show you a bundle that I discovered in the new Occasions catalog, which went live in January, and it goes through June of this year. And I just love this set. It's a bundle which consists of a stamp set and a die set that you can make so many sentiments with, and I think once you see what I'm going to demonstrate, you'll want to have it in your stash too. This is going to be a keeper for me. I'm going to keep it long after it retires, which I can't imagine it retiring anytime real soon, but once it does, I'll have it, and I'll have it forever. So again, this is Tammy Rundle. You can contact me with any questions or comments at impressorsextraordinaire.blogspot.com. That's my blog, and then my website is tammyrundle.stampinup.net, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. I love to see your comments. So let's get on with this video, and I'll show you what I have in mind. All right. So this is the stamp set and the die set that I'm talking about, the bundle mini messages. And you can find it on page 35 of that mini catalog. And like I said, it's good from now through June. And it's the perfect time to get it because it'll go toward your celebration purchase, which will get you close to your $50 when you can actually qualify for a free product out of the Celebration catalog. Celebration this year is a bit different than it has been in the past. This year they're doing it in two sessions. The first session is in January and February, and then the second session is in July and August. So you'll have an opportunity again to do Celebration, but if you want to take advantage of this session, go ahead and get your order in before the end of February, because at the end of February, this session is over. So this is the bundle, many messages, and normally these come in two separate packages, but I like to keep my bundles together so that I don't have to go and hunt for the stamp set or the dies. It just makes it easy for me. So I take my case the stamp is in, and I put my stamp on this side, and then I put the label from my package that my die is in the back, and then attach my die to the right side of my case. So that's the way I'm going to store it. And with this bundle, we are going to make the labels that I had shown you on a different video from the many messages and put them on this card. So all of these labels came from that stamp set. And I'm going to show you that right now. One of the most important tools that we need for this project is the Stamparatus. And I'm not sure if you have one of these, but if you don't, you probably need to get one because they are really, really cool. You can do repetitive stamping in the event that you put your stamp down and it doesn't take fully, or it's lighter in one area than the other, and it's just great to use this way. So go ahead, and I have my cardstock set in my Stamparatus along the edge of my grid paper, and then I'm going to place my stamp on my cardstock, and that's the thick Basic White cardstock, and then close the Stamparatus and stick it to that plate. And then I would come back and just make sure that it's secured on there so that it doesn't fall off while you're trying to stamp. And then the next thing that we need to do is ink our stamp. And I'm using the Tuxedo Black Ink, the Memento ink. And making sure that I get good coverage all over, but not overly concerned if for some reason it's not fabulous coverage, because sometimes that happens. And then go ahead and bring this plate down on the cardstock so that you can stamp your image. And then just run your fingers along where every sentiment is. And then we'll open it up and see how we did as far as getting a good inking. All right, here we go. That looks pretty good. I think it can be a little bit darker here. So I'm going to bring my ink back in and re-ink it on the stamp where it looks like there could be some improvement. I'm just going to ink it all over. What the heck? The more the merrier, right? Or the better. The more the better. All right. Let's see how we do with this one. I know it was a little light on the congratulations, so put a little extra pressure there. And just kind of go over it all over again. Bring your plate up. And I think that looks really, really good. That could use a little bit more ink, but well, I guess I can go ahead and let's see, because I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can zoom in. But can you see where that ink on the heart, there's still some in the middle, so let's see if I can get that a little bit better. Zoom out again. All right, go ahead and close it up. I don't think I need more ink, I just need a little bit more pressure. See what happens. Well, it's not perfect, but it's better. Another thing that you can do is you can ink up these little hearts and stars, different colors if you'd like. I think I'm good with what I've got. So let me pull that out of my Stamparatus, show you what I've got. And I just really love those fonts. It's another thing that really attracted me to this set. Sometimes I see some sentiment sets that I like what they say, but I don't necessarily like the font, or vice versa. So this is kind of cool. I like the sentiments and I like the fonts. So just another reason that I thought, I need this. All right, let me set my Stamparatus aside. And I'm going to get my die out. And let's put this ink away. And the next thing I need to do is, while my ink is drying, because it takes a little bit of time for the ink to dry, you don't want it to smear when you're running it through the Big Shot. So while I'm letting it dry, I'll bring my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine into the picture and making my sandwich on my cutter. I'm laying my stamped image there and then grabbing my die and placing it on the image. And if you line up the heart and the stars, these guys, then you're pretty certain to get a good cutting. Everything should be lined up very well so that when you cut these labels, you should be good. So go ahead and run that through. And it snaps and crackles and pops, and you think you're breaking something, but you're not, so don't worry about that. And then take everything out. Put my die away. And let me bring this up toward the camera so that you can see. Look at all those sentiments. And you can do black on white, white on black. When I do white on black, I like to emboss rather than use the craft ink. I just feel like you get a better image. And so this is one that I've embossed. Here's another one. Another thing that you can do is you can do color besides the black. So I've got my real red here. And then I've got a page of the Granny Apple Greens. And I've also cut out some blanks. So you could, technically, you could do some shadowing when you're making your projects. So you'll layer this behind it. Glue those two things together and have some shadowing for whatever you're working on. It's kind of cool. Lots and lots of possibilities. And then when you're finished, I've done a lot of labels, you'll go ahead and put all of your things in a cello bag or another bag. I like the cello bags. They're really nice. Let's see if I can get these off of my plate here. So you're keeping warm in these cold days. Wow, we got a lot of snow. It's kind of cool. I wish it would have been a little bit more wet, so the kids, and warmer, so the kids could go out and play and build snowmen. But you know, you take what you get, but it's really pretty. And I know a lot of people love to live in the warmer areas of the country, but I think I'd really miss winter. Some people might think that's crazy, but it's me. I just love winter. I don't know that I'd be the same if it was warm year-round. Now, as time passes, I may change my tune because, you know, we can do that. We don't always have to stay the same. In fact, I quite often change my tune from day to day. I don't know about you, but it's the glory of the human mind, right? All right, let me go ahead and put my machine over there out of the picture, and we'll move on to the next part of this video. And the next thing that I'm going to do is create my card for you. This card here. And I've gone ahead and I've stamped things and cut things, but I want to show you what I did for this part of it. And the components of this card are as follows. I've got the stamp sets / bundles, mini messages, hey chick and hey birthday chick, as well as the stamp all wired up. And it's a background stamp that looks like this. This is the case for the stamp, and this is the actual stamp. And I've mounted it on a clear block. And what I want to do is take my Versamark ink and then just kind of, I don't really want it all over. And if it does go all over, that's okay. But I kind of just want random light stamping. So I'm just going to tap that on there. Put my Versamark away. And then go ahead and stamp on a piece of 4 by 5 1/4. Oh yeah, I was telling you about the components of this card. So black cardstock. The base is going to be 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. And then you'll take another piece of black cardstock that's 4 by 5 1/4, which is what I'm using right now. And I'm inking up that piece. And let's set this aside. And then the other components that you need are another piece of 4 by 5 1/4 that goes on the inside of your card base. So that is here. You'll need a 5 by 5 1/2 to stamp and color your birds. And I did 4 of the birds. One of them's from the Hey Birthday Chick, and the other 3 are from Hey Chick. No, that might be backwards. But anyway, yes, Hey Chick. And then I stamped and colored them. I used the Real Red Stampin' Right marker, which is here. Really cool tool. And then I cut them out using the dies that are in those bundles. So they'll go on my card. And then here are my sentiments, like the ones I just stamped. So I'm going to set those aside for right now. And bring in some copy paper. This is just plain computer copy paper. Doesn't have to be anything special. Fold it in the middle so that it's easy to get the embossing powder back into its little container. And then I'm going to take my piece of Basic Black that I stamped on, the 4 by 5 1/4, and go ahead and pour the embossing powder on there, and then kind of tap it off. And it's okay if it's kind of messy. I kind of prefer that. So it looks like this. And then set that aside for right now. And then I want to save my embossing powder. So pour it into my can. And set this aside. Bring that back in and cover this up. Last thing you want to do is turn your heat tool on with your canister open, because it will go everywhere. And ask me how I know that. Yep, it's happened to me. Not a huge deal, but yeah, it kind of puts a crimp in your style for a bit. So I'm going to take this piece, and let's see if I can zoom in again so that you can see that real well. And then I'm going to turn my heat tool on. I'm going to try to speak loud enough so that you can hear me through this video. But I apologize if for some reason it gets too loud. Try to keep it low, but you know how it goes. The heat tool that I'm using is the current one that's in our catalog, and it has 2 settings, a low and a high. I am going to put this on high. The low setting you would use for something like vellum or window sheets or another kind of plastic kind of thing that would melt if it got too hot. So, but with regular cardstock, I can put it on the high setting and get ready to go. And before I start to try to emboss, I'm going to make sure that I heat it up as hot as it'll go. Here we go. It's getting really hot. All right. And then as you emboss, see if I can bring it up to you. You will see the embossing powder start to turn a bolder white. And that's just the heat melting that powder into liquid form. And just continue to run it over your project, melting that powder. And normally I wouldn't like those pieces of stray powder on my projects, and so I would probably use a thing like the Embossing Buddy, or maybe you could use like a dryer sheet or something that gets that static cling off of your cardstock. But for this, I don't really care. It's okay. All right. The one thing you don't want to do when you're embossing is heat it too much, because then it kind of decreases the, I guess the texture, and it kind of melts it into the cardstock, so you don't get the effect that you wanted. And I'm not sure how well it shows up on the video, but there's just a little bit, a layer of elevation, and it feels kind of like plastic. It's really cool. I love heat embossing. The first time I saw it, I was doing it at a party where they were melting gold embossing powder. And oh my gosh, I at that point in time realized I could do this. It would be so cool. So here's our piece that we're going to lay down on our card base. Let me go ahead and zoom back out. And you don't have to have this little piece. You could emboss right on the card base, but I have found that when you do something like that, sometimes the top of your card base will kind of curl, and I really don't want that. So I am going to use this piece and glue it onto this piece. Let's go ahead and do that. The glue that I'm using is the Tombow multi-purpose adhesive, the liquid glue that's in the catalog. I make a lot of projects with this. It's temporarily repositionable, and for me that's kind of important because sometimes I don't get the best, I don't line it up real good sometimes first time around, so I can reposition it. It's a bit more forgiving than the other adhesives. All right, so I've got that on there. And then I want to just lay everything out so that I know where everything's going to go. Let's put him up here, or I guess it's a her because they're called chicks, right? Let's see, and I did this here. And let's do this one on the inside and do my crazy chicken. I call this one my crazy chicken because I love his crazy feathers. Put him here. That looks pretty good. Let's make sure that they all fit where I want them. Let's put this one here. Just kind of laying things out how I want them, and then I'll come back and glue them with my liquid glue again. That looks pretty good. Maybe one up. Let's move him down a little. And her over here. Wonder why I think that looks like a him. I don't know. All right. And then there. All right. I think that looks pretty good. Then go ahead and glue them on. This is a really simple card to do. Very fast. And that's what I like. Sometimes I like cards that take a lot of time in different projects, but sometimes I just want quick. And this is one of those. Quick with a lot of interest. I love the white and black combination too, with the pop of color. So, and red's my favorite color, so that's why I chose red. So have you played with this stamp set before? I should say these stamp sets, the Hey Chick and Hey Birthday Chick. And also, do you have the mini messages? Have you played with it? If not, I highly recommend getting it out. It's so much fun. And it's so cool to have all those labels at your disposal whenever you're ready to make a project. I'm just about done. We'll get the inside of the card made here, and then our project will be complete. Then open the middle, and again glue this on the inside. You could use the chalk marker to write on the inside. I just choose to put the white cardstock in there and use my black pen to write. And I know exactly who this card is going to. It's somebody that I haven't seen for a while, which would be my mom. She lives in a nursing home, and right now they're again on lockdown. We can't even go for a window visit, so I'm sending her this card to let her know that I'm thinking about her and that I love her so much. She just turned 89 at the end of January, and she's such a cool lady. And she's actually doing very well with everything that's going on in this world these days. Much better, I think, than probably me. All right. Close up my glue. And that is my series of projects for you for this video. I'm glad that you tuned in. And again, if you would like to get any of what you just saw me demonstrate today, you can head over to my website. Oh, let's see if I can get actually up there. And that's tammyrundle.stampinup.net. Or you can head to my blog, and you can actually get to my website through my blog too. You just click on the catalogs and it'll take you right to my catalog and place your order today. And if you do it before the end of February and you purchase $50 worth of product or $100 worth of product, you get some really cool free stuff. So take yourself there today. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you on my next video.